After about an hour or so, you find yourselves together in a cell. Marshal Ho comes in to the cell where the four of you are held together. And he says, I apologize for the elaborate show, but there was no other way that I could safely bring you to a place to discuss a proposition I have for you without anyone who I do not trust hearing this proposition. He pulls out a golden key. He says, I know that rumors have been going around town about this key and the tomb that it is supposed to open. As tensions rise between the Emperor and his legion of eunuchs and the White Lotus clan, many of the White Lotus clan and their supporters have resorted to looting tombs to raise capital for their endeavors. And I have managed to take this key off of one of the people that I have recently arrested, one of the leaders of the White Lotus, and in exchange for his freedom, he helped me stage the show in the restaurant just now. Do appreciate that you were able to patch up the boy. That was not my intention for anyone to be harmed in this altercation. So, back to my proposition. I know the four of you to be capable, taking care of yourselves and preparing for danger. I need you to go to where I believe this tomb, the key that opens this tomb is. And although I have been near there, I have not found the location myself. And I've heard that others who have tried have not been able to go much past the entrance temple. But I would like you to go in, if you can, open the tomb and see what is inside. There have been rumors of undead coming around the area from this temple, so I think something has been raising the dead. Some power has been raising the dead in this area, and I believe the source lies in the tomb. Of course, if you can do this for me, all charges will be dropped, and you would provided a great service for your emperor, which you will be greatly rewarded.
How was the boy injured?
I told the leader to provide a distraction. I believe that he switched swords while they were distracted during their performance. So the sword that should have not gone through the boy's body was replaced by a real sword.
It's a pretty crappy distraction for that.
Yes.
I'm now regretting that I saved his life as well. Perhaps we can undo that.
Don't worry. I let him out for this one favor. He has gone against my deal. He has caused him bodily injury, and he will be locked up for quite a while to come.
The other White Lotus assassins, were they real or yours?
They were his men. They were easily put to work for a few silver pieces. Most of the White Lotus soldiers of that level are actually pretty lazy. So without a proper source of payment, I'm not worried about them coming to cause any trouble again.
What else do you know of this tomb?
It's rumored that this is the tomb of an ancient emperor from thousands of years ago. The name, I think it's Emperor Tangwei. And if any of you want to make a history check, you'll know a little bit more about that emperor.
That seems like a good idea.
Okay. Tinlong, who is very knowledgeable in history, knows what the other two do not know, that Emperor Tangwei is a legendary emperor from the time before history. He was one of the first unifiers of a kingdom at the time that led to greater unification of the kingdom. And he was buried with two of his wives, according to the rumors. They were very skilled for having lived a long time. They knew some alchemy secrets, or so the stories go, that made them live an unusually long length of time that even rivaled some of the elves of the region.
And do you relay this information to the rest of us?
In short form, yes. He's a very old emperor, married with 2 wives who were probably necromancers. If there are undead coming from the vicinity, perhaps they have all woken up.
Well, I cannot speak for my companions, but I will do this task for you. I will find what is in this tomb. Seems like an interesting journey to me. How far is this place?
A several-hour journey from town.
Well, I am very mildly wounded.
Perhaps in the
could
morning.
use a bit of rest before we go. Could we leave tomorrow?
Although this is an urgent matter, but I think a few hours of rest will not make a large difference.
You'll provide us a map or some means of finding this place?
Yes, I will give you the general directions.
Perfect, thank you. Then perhaps I'll just sleep here for a few hours and then we'll make our way as soon as tomorrow comes. I'm guessing, Brian, that the party that we were attending was in fact in the evening, that it is now quite late in the evening, somewhere around midnight or so. And so tomorrow morning is a reasonable time to kind of head out on this kind of journey. Does that seem right to you?
That is correct. That is correct.
Perfect. Then having said that, I will walk over to kind of one of the walls of this little prison cell and pull out a bedroll or some piece of cloth that I can use as a pillow, put it behind my head and relax against the wall. And then a moment later, kind of open one eye and look at the Marshal and say, "Oh, Marshal, my stick."
Your equipment will be returned to you when you set out in the morning.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. And with that, put my head against the wall, close my eyes, and fall asleep almost immediately.
Marshal, can you provide horses and wagons?
Horses are not a problem. What would you need wagons for?
Well, to carry 400 barrels of holy water.
Holy water? I'm not familiar with that.
We need 400 barrels of holy water to flood the vicinity first, and then we will go in following the tsunami and clean up anything that remains. It's very simple. I can show you my calculations.
In this part of the world, they don't have clerics and priests that they use things like holy water. This would fall more oil in the realm of the Taoist priests who do rituals to exorcise undead and spirits.
Well, we cannot pour 400 barrels of Taoist priests down a shaft in the ground, so we will need oil. We will just burn it.
It would take me some time to gather that much supplies for you. It would be better if you could at least scout out first. It would take me another day or two to arrange that amount of oil for you.
Very well.
Are we getting this key to go in there and make sure there's nothing, or what's causing the undead to come out? Or are we just going out there to take a look and try and stop it? Because if it's in there and we don't have the key, that's going to make it...
Yes, he's given you the key already. Now, for the sake of this being a test and not a full-length adventure, I'm actually going to skip over the travel part and the finding it, and we're just going to simplify all of that. You have...
Who has the key?
The key master and the geek.
Wingwo, the fighter. Your godfather has many godsons, but only one goddaughter because she is a very capable fighter. So she has the key. You have searched around, following the general directions. You were able to locate what appears to be the entrance to the tomb. There are a couple of dragon statues guarding an entrance to a temple. She walks up, places the key inside the door, and walks in the first temple room.
Yes, let's search for traps before we walk in. Oh, wait.
She already walked in.
She walked in without incident. And before you see an altar with 2 urns, which looked like once upon a time they had lots of incense being burnt in them. There are many sticks of broken incense on the sides of the altar. 3 sticks of clean and usable incense that, despite the years, seem to be almost untouched, sitting between the 2 urns on the altar.
How dust accumulated on the altar?
Yes.
Is it disturbed?
Give me a perception check.
Beige. I think I'll paint the ceiling beige.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've heard that.
Yes, you can't tell how long it's been since the dust has been disturbed. There's no distinguishable features. There's so much dust on the floor and on the altar, burnt ash from the past incense, but you're not sure.
Does anyone have any skills at tracking?
Does anyone have survival?
I have
not,
insight.
I'm not trained in survival. However, I'm willing to attempt it.
Untrained survival.
We should perhaps see if anyone has obvious signs of their passage. No indications of passage then.
No signs of anything coming in and out of this temple for a long, long time.
I want to take a careful look at the altar itself and the incense. Am I aware, I am trained in religion, am I aware of any particular significance, traditions surrounding incense and this particular altar, any sort of normal things that would go on here or rituals that would normally be performed here?
The other thought to that would be, is the incense that looks untouched, is it really incense or is it like just disguised as incense?
First of all, to answer Dean, as a Taoist priest, you know that the incense is used quite often in groups of 3 whenever rituals are performed. And give me also, I'll let you do this with a religion check. Give me a religion check, Dean.
Nice.
Okay. You notice that there does seem to be a difference between the number of incense sticks on the right urn compared to the left. There seems to be almost twice as many incense sticks in the right urn as opposed to the left one. Porter, give me an investigation check as far as your question.
Let's see.
It seems to be genuine incense sticks like you would use in your everyday lives. Yeah, nothing unusual about it, except maybe the age.
Are all of the incense sticks in one or the other of the urns burned? So, for example, do I see only unused incense sticks on the left and used burnt incense sticks on the right, or is there kind of an even distribution?
The ones that are sticking out of the urn have all been burnt.
So the only unburned ones are the 3 that are left in between.
Right.
Okay, I see. And I know that they are generally traditionally burned in 3s, and I see many more in the right than the left. Is that true?
Right.
Twice as many on the right.
Correct.
Well,
2 and 1.
I say to my companions, 2 in this one and 1 in this one, or...
Unless that is just what they wish us to think.
I shrug, pick up the 3 that are remaining, put 2 in the one with more of them, 1 in the one with less of them. And then let's see if I have anything with which to make fire.
You would have something to make fire with you.
Oh, perfect then. Then I will pull out my, one imagines flint and steel, kindle a small flame, and light all 3 of the incense sticks, and then keep a close eye on the room, waiting for anything to leap out and try to eat me.
As you light the incense, 2 on the right, 1 on the left, all of a sudden, behind the altar, you hear a creaking noise as a door opens up with stairs that seem to be in pretty bad repair going down into the crypt.
This is where the oil would have been handy.
Perhaps someone should scout ahead. Is anyone particularly stealthy? I admit I do have some small skill in that area. The number of times that we snuck out of the monastery when I was young to find things we shouldn't be finding at that age has given me some skill in this area. If we would like, I'm happy to scout ahead to see if anything is lying in wait for us.
I think that sounds like an excellent plan.
Very well. If you hear me shrieking loudly in agony, come and find me.
Before we go down there, let's all take a second, listen and smell, and see if there's anything that is out of place before we go wandering down in.
Sure. Give me perception checks. Listening carefully, paying attention to down the stairs, you notice that there are thick layers of dust along the stonework The only life apparent here is the lichen that clings to the cracks running through several of the stones, but you can sense the presence of death all around you.
It's the presence of death.
Yes. And the smell is not pleasant at all. The air is stale. The smell is terrible.
Any movement of the air, or is it's just heavy, still, and stale?
It's just heavy and stale from where you're at now. No breeze coming back out.
Well, everyone's still all right if I go and take a look.
Sure.
I believe that would be wise.
So, as quietly as I can, I'm going to take one step forward and then search the stairs in front of me to see if there's anything untoward. Traps, spikes, angry things.
Give me an investigation check. You do not seem to notice anything. The disrepair of the stairs, it's hard to make out if anything is unusual or anything that would possibly be designed to be a trap.
Perfect. Well, in the absence of any information to the contrary, then, I begin to, as quietly as possible, make my way down the stairs, staying low and near to the wall. Would you like a stealth check?
Yes.
Huh?
Oh, hey!
All right.
I am the knight.
Okay, so you very stealthily, very quietly walk down the stairs. Wing starts to follow you. She's very curious about what's going on. The stairs are very dark. The passage leading underground from the dusty mausoleum emerges into a rank and stinking passage. There's just a tiny bit of light coming from above you, but in front of you, there's nothing else that you can see without finding a source of light.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so I peer uselessly into the darkness for, I don't know, just a little bit too long, like just a little bit longer than you would normally expect before realization dawns upon me. And then as quietly as I came, I turn around and go back and say to my companions, "It seems very dark there.
I hand you my lit lamp.
I will need a light."
I hand you my lit lamp.
All right.
But alas, a lighted lamp makes sneaking somewhat ineffectual. Perhaps we should all go together then?
Before we do, how long does it appear the incense will burn?
This incense will normally burn for about half an hour.
Do you suppose the doors might close again when the incense is burnt? Perhaps we should try to find a way to make sure we can come back. Do the doors seem to have any kind of a mechanism that can be jammed, or a button on the inside that might open them from the inside?
Give me an investigation check.
Yeah, holding the sword.
All right, you take a look at the doors and how they had retracted in front of the stairs, and you believe that you can find a mechanism. You see basically the tracks of where the walls retreated, and you believe that if you were able to shove something in there strong enough, it should be able to prevent the doors from closing without closing behind you.
Do any of you happen to have a spare dagger?
Wing pulls out a dagger. Would this do?
Perhaps. Would you like to try to jam it in there?
All right. And she shoves it in there, and it appears to be sturdy and stable.
There were dragons outside. Could we move them?
No, the statues are longer than the four of you together, and twice as tall. They're huge statues.
I don't see in my inventory that I have any coinage. I'm assuming there's some and maybe a pouch.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I want to do? I think this might be a good idea. I want to cast light on a coin.
Okay.
And then I'll keep it in that pouch for a little while. Or just where the torchlight expires, roll it down the hallway to there. Actually, so we can get light down there where we can see.
All right.
Are we all satisfied that these doors should remain open, or should we look for further jamming?
I, for one, am satisfied, and may I say, that was remarkably keen of mind of you, sir. You were a scholar indeed.
Perhaps we might find the people who haven't returned were simply trapped behind the doors.
Singbo looks in awe of that realization. You kind of get the impression that Singbo is maybe not the sharpest tack.
Shall we proceed?
Indeed. Would you like me to go first? And then I kind of cast a questioning glance at the very strong, very large weapon-wielding woman next to me.
She says, yes, I can move forward. I can move first.
Very well. I'll be right behind you. And true to my word, I follow directly behind her.
I'll take up the rear.
I'm just dropping lit dimes, that's all.
So coming down to the bottom of the stairs, this is a long, stinking passage. The aromas of decomposition, endless and invasive to anyone foolish enough to enter this dark tomb. The cobwebs block off holes in the walls, hopefully the products of silence and not some enormous arachnid lurking within its depths. Unknown animals or monsters have partially excavated various remains throughout, causing your footsteps to crunch solidly on desiccated bones.
Are there any fresh corpses, or is anything still wet?
Give me a perception check. No, there is nothing fresh or wet other than some of the lichen on the stones. No fresh blood for sure.
Any dust on the floor, and if so, has it been disturbed recently?
Give me another perception check.
Yes, sir.
The dust on the floor does not seem to have been disturbed.
Not the lichen.
You want to check that out?
Yeah. Let's look at that lichen for a minute.
All right. Give me an investigation check, checking out the lichen.
14.
The lichen seems to be growing naturally. It does not appear that it has been disturbed in quite some time. You look around at some of the passages that in the past may have gone into the ground beyond you, but it doesn't look like anything has scratched at the lichen or disturbed it in quite some time.
Is it just randomly growing, or does it stick to specific areas in the?
It's pretty random.
Okay.
Looking down the corridor, you can see not too far in front of you to your left. There is a rotting wooden door, and then
kind of look at my companions, and then kind of with a small shrug slip past the woman in front of me, avoiding the kind of lichen areas on both sides if I can, and step to here, and then kind of take a step closer to the door and take a look at it.
You see a door that has not seen use in a long time. It's rotting.
Are there any holes?
Any sound coming or holes?
Give me a perception check. No sound coming from the other side. It looks like the door has not been used in a long, long time.
And by rotting, it has not rotted through in a way that would allow me to see what's beyond it.
Right.
Cool. Okay. So I kind of take a glance back towards my companions and pointed the door and getting a nod from at least.
Can we slide that coin that I cast light on underneath the door?
Yeah, you could probably squeeze it. You could probably squeeze it under the door.
Let's push that under the door before we try to open the door. It'll announce our presence, but it might scare the hell out of whatever.
Great idea.
You're gonna go to whack with your stick.
Yeah, I pick up the coin, put it carefully on the floor in front of it, and then just flick it with my fingers under the door, and then kind of wait.
Okay.
It's dark now.
And Galston, you still have your lit lantern.
I had put it out, but I can light it again if someone will give me a light while I do so.
Oh, no. I open the door. So hopefully the light will spill back out into the passage. Is that enough for you to light your lantern?
Yes.
Excellent.
So now I have
light
lit my lantern. Can I put that?
Well, not hearing any shrieks or movement or anything from beyond the door that I've just opened, I'm going to go ahead and take a step in the room and see what we got in there.
Leroy Jenkins.
Sure.
Okay, coming inside this room, you see what appears to once upon a time have been a supply room. There are barrels of what was once food, clothing. Most of the food has rotted and crumbled into dust. It's been a long, long time since anyone has been in this room. And that's all you see in this room.
Perhaps there's something of value that has been left. And I go and maybe have a gander through what's left. See if there's anything that sticks out, jumps out at me, or either figuratively or literally.
Sure, give me an investigation.
What was that? Did somebody else? Oh, Marcus, you are as well?
Also. Yes.
Okay, great. So here's my investigation.
Okay. You poke around through the rotting crates and barrels and the dust. Doesn't seem to be anything left of value in this room.
I found a raisin.
Ooh, my friend, I think it would be unwise to eat that. In fact, I think it may not be a raisin at all.
It was not for me.
Coffee bean.
Perhaps continue down the hall then.
I'll pick up the lit coin.
All right, coming down into the corridor, you see a little bit further ahead of you is a stone door with a dragon head over the top of the door.
Well,
is it the same type of dragon that was outside?
Yes, it is. It is the same dragon symbol as the statues that were outside the entrance to the tomb.
Out of curiosity, how many claws on their hands?
There are 3 claws.
2 on the right, 1 on the left.
3 on each hand.
Ah.
Okay.
Not an incense dragon then.
No.
Now,
step up and... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If I recall correctly, the 3 claws are the earthly bound spirit type dragons, where those with 5 are the more the celestial bureaucracy type, from what I remember. I don't know. Could be wrong.
Out of character, that sounds correct.
Yeah.
Whether or not a farmer would know that, I don't know.
Perhaps he farms dragons.
But Teen Long could give me a history check. Teen Long may know that fact.
Perfect.
Yes, Teen Long does know that.
I will begin to discuss the differences between the 3-claw and 5-claw dragons and what that means historically. If you'd like to sit down, we could perhaps have tea and discuss this.
This is not my first time in an instructional scenario, having grown up in a monastery, and so hearing the education begin, my character reflexively turns, faces the scholar, sits down cross-legged, and listens attentively.
Nice. Okay. In the meantime, while Teen Long is giving a discourse on the different types of dragon symbols on tombs, Wingwolf starts to look at the door and see if maybe it can be opened. She takes a look at it. Let's give her an investigation check. Okay, she doesn't seem to notice anything unusual like traps, so she tries to open it.
And Brian, when she begins to operate the door, I'm going to raise my hand and say, "Master, forgive me, but it seems that there is work to be done." Stand up, and then, since I was right in front of the door, either move to the side, or if she will permit me to open it, I will open it.
Okay. You move to the side. She doesn't really give you much time to do anything, but the door is jammed. The handle, what would be a handle, a steel knocker on this door, creaks and turns, but pulling on the door by herself, she is not able to pull the door open.
I'm sorry, what type of stone is the door made of?
The stone of the door seems very similar to the walls around you. I haven't made a note of a specific type of stone, but they're basically the same. Between the room that you are in and the door, they're the same kind of stone.
I was talking about that it's decorated or designed to look like a dragon door to a degree.
The dragon is above the door. The dragon motif is above the door. It's not controlling the door in any way.
Or is it? Does it look like anyone's manipulated it, or there's...
Give me an investigation check.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Come on, electrons. Be my friend. I can't reach it. I can't tell.
Yeah, looking up, it looks like the dragon design was designed above the door. Doesn't even closely. There's a few inches between the design and the door, so it does not impede the door in any way.
Seeing Wingwo struggle with the door, being unwilling to let one of my teammates, struggle without me, I will attempt to assist her in getting this door open.
Okay. Give me a strength check.
Sir.
All right.
Oh.
Between the two of you, you are able to pull this door open. Now, as this door opens, you instinctively raise your hand against your nose because of the terrible smell coming from this next room. There's a thick stone that seemed to keep the chamber very cool, but the smell inside is just terrible.
Oh, it smells as though something has died in there. Do I hear anything? Do we hear anything? Sounds of movement, growling, anything like that?
Give me a perception check. It is quiet as the dead.
That's not reassuring.
Do we want to toss in our little light grenade, our little flashbang in there and see if anything reacts?
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Roll the coin in.
Wait to see what happens.
The cat will chase it.
You roll a coin in, and you see light coming through. Let me put it up here. Put her up here so she can see inside of the room. There is a large room with a dragon motif carved in the center of the floor. An altar with one urn of incense in the left corner. Two side chambers that seem to be filled with skeletons from what you can see in the doorway there. Skeletons just laying on the ground. And at the far end of the room, there are a set of stone stairs moving up to another large steel door. There are two statues on either side of the stairs. The dead are laid out. They're not just all over the ground. They're actually laid down in almost organized positions. The statues are very, very unique. You can't quite see it from the doorway here, but you notice the one straight ahead of you. You can see a little bit. It's actually brightly colored. It's got oranges and blues and monstrous in shape. Some monster face standing on top of a snake. That's what you can see on the one directly in front of you. You'd have to go into the room to see clearly to anything else.
Kind of turn to look at my companions and gesture to the room, and seeing the nod from the scholar into the room. I want to be careful to not touch directly the inlay on the ground, the dragon art on the ground there. And then my character will kind of stop and turn to his companions and go, kind of put up his hand to say wait. And then I'm going to do a quick detect magic.
Okay. You are able to... You definitely feel magical presence in the room. You're not exactly sure what it's from, the source of the magic, but it definitely has a necrotic feel to it.
And then I'm going to, having gotten that information, I look at my companions and say, I sense the presence of necrotic sorcery here. You may indeed be in the presence of undead. Keep an eye on the skeletons.
Also give me a perception check, Dean.
Perception. There it is. Oh, hey.
You do also notice that there is usable, unburnt incense sticks next to the urn on the altar.
I was just about to ask. Are there burnt incense sticks in the urn?
There are sticks that were burnt once upon a time, and there are fresh sticks that could be burned again.
I'm gonna be being careful to not step on the dragon art on the ground. Just kind of head over here and take a closer look at the skeletons and the statue up here that I could not see from the doorway.
Okay. Now, looking at the side chamber, you notice that these servants, by the remains of their clothes, or these skeletons, by the remaining clothing on their bodies, they were some kind of servants, aides and ministers probably of the emperor, people that he had buried with him in his tomb. And the bottom of the room, there are some containers that may have things in them.
And it looks like oh, there you go. Thank you.
Let me tell you about the statues. So these two statues are figures of animal, almost like demons on top of these rock plinths. The one that you can now see clearly moving closer has a human face and a beast body, and it's standing on the back of a screaming deer. And the other one is a lion-faced beast, a lion face and a human body, and it's standing on top of that one was standing on the stake. This one is the you're now investigating is standing on top of a boar. Painted down the front of both sides of these guardian statues is a central band of stylized peony flowers and side floral bands on a partly silver ground. The forearms and ankles of both guardians are painted to simulate fur, and the beard on the human face is executed in fine lines in contrast to the strong brushwork representing the mane surrounding the lion face. Deep, thin slits are found along the tops of the arms on both figures.
I relay the information that I've discovered by getting close to the statues to my companions, and then I say, so, what next?
Does any of the art or style mean anything to me from a historical perspective?
Give me a history check.
It's actually an 11.
Right. You know of these guardian demon statues. It's quite common that tombs have these statues in front of the entrance to a main tomb. But that's about all that you know.
You said that there were slits in the forearms.
Yes.
How large were the slits? Could you tell?
I can get closer and look.
They're very thin. In fact, walking closer and taking a look, that it appears like you would put something as thin as paper or incense sticks inside of them.
I was about to ask, as thin as incense sticks or as thin as a crossbow bolt?
Crossbow bolt would be too thick.
Okay.
How many slits in the arm, each arm?
There is one long slit in each arm.
Is there any remains of burnt incense there?
No.
What about and again, I don't know if a farmer would think of this, but the funerals, the spirit money, the fake money, the little paper money that's put out during the funeral, would that fit through those slits?
It would fit through those slits, but normally you wouldn't see that money inside of a tomb.
Is there any sign of paper? There were containers near the skeletons, you said.
Yes, you want to check out the containers? Give me an investigation check.
Let's see what's
Before
in
he does that, are you walking towards the containers? Is that what's going on?
I'm going to walk around this way, avoiding the dragon on the floor as well. And these are the containers
when he begins,
down here. When I begin.
But when he goes in there, I'm going to look inside. I should still have detect magic up and running. It lasts for 10 minutes. Do I see any magic coming from any of the containers?
No.
Okay, then I let him go.
Okay. Then I will walk down to here and investigate containers.
Give me an investigation check.
9.
Just like the first room that you investigated before, whatever was once in these containers seems to be dried up and turned to dust.
I put the raisin in one of them. It does not appear anything useful remains. Do you think the other side may be the same?
Would any skeleton pieces fit?
Funny you should mention that. Some of the very small bones in the inner ear are small enough to almost be mistaken for paper.
When the scholar goes into that particular beginning of a lecture, my character reflexively begins to turn and sit again, but then catches himself and continues about what he was doing, and then continues to go into this room. Any magical emanations coming from this particular room?
Outside of the general necrotic energy feel, there's nothing else.
And any indication where the smell is coming from?
All around you. The bodies on the floor. It's so pervasive around you. It's not even possible to distinguish one general direction.
Are the skeletons new enough to still be smelling bad? I mean, are they wet? Are there wet bits on them?
No. They are very old and dry skeletons.
Where is the smell coming from? He says. I say, with kind of covering my mouth and nose. I pull up one end of my sash and kind of cover my mouth and nose to try to block it out, unsuccessfully block it out. Look back at my companions. Perhaps incense in the arms of the statues?
The arms? Or the altar?
I don't know, but this smell is bad enough that we should make a decision.
Incense will smell better.
It's true. Shall I try the arms?
One at a time, please.
Very well. I'm gonna kind of head over here, grab 3 pieces. Actually, so there are a total of how many arms and slits? 4?
There is 1 slit going down each forearm, so total of 4 slits.
Okay. I'll pick up 4 sticks of incense, go over to this statue, drop 1 stick of incense in one of the arms and light it, and then look around, wait for something horrible to happen.
Nothing happens.
Shrugs, 2nd stick of incense, light it.
All right, it starts burning away. The smell of the incense is nicer than the smell of death filling your nostrils.
I sort of gratefully take a breath of it and then head over to the other statue. Same routine. Drop in 1 stick of incense, gingerly light it.
Okay. All good.
Look around. 4th stick, light it.